Des from Aro-Tarot here, and I figured I'd make a video on this now that part of it's now ended, at least. But yeah, if you couldn't tell from the title of this video, I don't know exactly what I'm going to name it yet, but it should be in the title and the description about what this is about. But yeah, part of it's pretty much done now, and there's a lot of people mad at other people now, so I thought I would do a video talking about that. Yeah. And this is like the second time of me filming it, just because the last time, like, I just switched like batteries for the camera because it just was being mean. And then it just, this is a battery that hasn't been used in a while, and it just needed more and more time to charge. So it's charged for a pretty good amount of time, so it should be fine, and I should be able to just keep talking till I'm done. So yay about that. But anyway, so with the whole Sephora and Penrose and this witch kit, I've only commented on like one person's video, kind of giving my stance on what it was like at the time, and then I even like replied with like even more of like another side completely of the argument, because I felt like it was one that was definitely also important. So one of the things I like to do is I like to look at the different sides of things, unless a group of people that's on one side is just a bunch of assholes. Like, you know, like racists, transphobes, homophobes, sexists, you know, those kind of people. Not really gonna look at their side of things if they're all like, oh, well, this, it's like, no, you're just being transphobic. You know, like stuff like that. You know, like, the only time I'm not gonna be anywhere near diplomatic in a situation, you know. Yeah. So generally, though, I like to look at things, and I like to look at the different sides, and, you know, I'm kind of like weighing them out, you know, seeing how they are, before I usually plant my, my little flag that's like, I'm on this side, you know, kind of thing. Sometimes I'm even willing to, like, listen even more, and then, like, you know, like, oh, well, I was on this side, but it's obviously this one, so I'll change, you know. I literally see the whole thing as scales, which, I mean, makes sense. I'm a Libra. You know, so I could be pretty much a Libra. It's also my ascendant sign, too, so Libra. But yeah, anyway, if you haven't heard, Penrose came out with a statement, and the box has actually gotten canceled, which is actually a shame, considering now everything we know about it. And I'll kind of, I'll go ahead, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and mention, I almost forgot. Besides the comments, I have, well, I've reblogged, like, the more recent things, and during it, I reblogged a post that showed pros and cons. It's a little bit more on the even side, but having more of the pros that I was seeing out of it. I reblogged one with cons, because it gave, like, some valid points. I reblogged one that was a completely different side of the argument, which is basically the argument that is going on right now. And then I also reblogged one that was also more balanced as well, about the pros and cons. You know, it's just how I am. And I didn't really give too much of an opinion or anything. I kind of was like, mostly like, oh, this is a good point or something, you know. Just because that's the kind of person I am. I usually don't even speak things either, just because I am a quiet person. I'm not really quiet. I'm just not one to talk. Oh, but if I know you and you get me talking, I can blah, 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 so. But yeah, so currently the argument which is basically that third post that I reblogged, is revolving around people are really mad that this got taken, isn't getting made. Not because of, because like, it was right to question where the white sage came from, because they didn't say actually where it came from. I'm not really surprised though, since like obviously like Sephora was kind of like marketing it and was gonna sell it. They probably didn't feel a need to. But yeah, there was that, and people were worrying about that, and there's no issue with worrying. Like, no one's, if you were mad about that, worrying where it was coming from, there's like literally no issue. That's not the people that some people are mad at. Some people, though, are mad at these people that were saying that this kit was appropriating witchcraft, you know, that it's cultural appropriation. Like, if it was on the sage, especially if they called it smudging, which they did not. Penrose themselves, they didn't say it was smudging. That would have been cultural appropriation, because white sage is sacred to some Native American tribes, you know. So that makes sense. But a lot of people were saying and just about just witchcraft in general, and it's those people that there are people that are really mad about. That third post that I posted was talking about how these people were really mad because everyone's kind of jumping on this whole thing like it was the end of the world kind of thing. But yet no one, like that many people have not really jumped on other areas of like cultural appropriation. For instance, one person I follow reblogged with the link of this one store that's been selling white sage, and no one has said anything as far as they're aware. And it's just been going strong. So yeah, like, and there are other stores that have done it. You know, it just happened to be this one. And no one's really jumping on the cultural appropriation, you know, trying to get rid of that as much as they were this. And just there being even other areas as well, because one person also brought up, like, well, there's other areas besides even cultural appropriation. There's the issue with TERFs, and there's the issue with elitists as well. So you got these three big areas, but the one that everyone seems to really be getting mad about is the appropriation of witchcraft. So yeah, that's where some people are really mad about. And I've reblogged a few posts about that, including one that does actually have the pictures of Penrose's actual stance on the matter, because Penrose were the ones that were making the kit. Sephora wasn't making the kit, which I thought was like kind of really weird how everyone was like, Sephora, Sephora! And they were gonna sell it and they were marketing it, but like at the same time no one was going, Penrose, I'll never buy from them again. The only time I've seen Penrose getting mentioned is like today with like their apology, and then Luna, who is someone that I follow. What's her full Tumblr name actually? Oh gosh darn it. Luna Asteria, which is it's Lunaesteria. I saw in the one post that I reblogged by her, she had mentioned that it was Penrose, because she was talking about how the kit is not overpriced because there's a lot of perfume in that. Like, what is it? I believe it is 9 samples. And their perfume goes for like $42 and up per bottle, which, it's perfume. It's gonna cost that much. I mean, just for instance, I've only ever gotten 2 things at Sephora before. I've gotten a skincare kit, and then I've gotten this before. This is a travel fragrance. You know how much this is? This was like $25. Here's this. So, yeah, a lot of the money was coming from, like, a lot of the cost was obviously coming from the perfume. So it wasn't actually overpriced. But yeah, that's just that. Anyway, so what they've said is that they apologized. And they even said what their intention for the product was to create something that celebrates wellness, personal ceremony, and intention setting with a focus on using fragrance as a beauty ritual. And I know one person actually said, huh, that sounds more actual witchy than some of these people that I see. Just from hearing, like, intention setting, like, with a focus on using fragrance as a beauty ritual and just personal ceremony and celebrating wellness, like, literally, that sounds like literally up everyone's alley. Like, we sure that none of them are witches or have actually talked to witches? Because I would see something like that on everyone's blog, you know? They obviously were meaning it for that, and they did touch on some parts. I know a lot of people were really confused about the artwork. That finally had gotten cleared up. Their stance on that is just kind of like also just adding to it, because that ended up getting cleared up. Because people were confused because, like, it looked like they took it from the one tarot, and then they realized that tarot, like, seemed to be taking it from this one artist's tarot, and then it was like, who stole from who? Like, is there like a copyright that you could buy? Yeah, there's a license, and they bought the license back in June. Also, with the white sage, they did actually clear that up. The white sage, a lot of people were trying to say that it's endangered. Like, it's sacred, but it is not an endangered species of plant. It's not endangered. And they said that it is not endangered or threatened. And the sage was planned to be used in this kit is sourced from a Green American Gold certified company. The sage is grown in the wild in California and is sustainably harvested and sold by Native American owned and operated businesses. So yeah, because the kit's not happening, that's some money that some Native American businesses are not going to be getting, which is also why a lot of people are mad. The first response that I actually saw about this, the one that actually took all this and were talking about how mad they were afterwards, they are actually Native American. And they also are really mad because a lot of people were giving them shit during the whole arguments that were going on and calling them slurs. So, yeah. Not good. And also it mentioned how the product doesn't mention smudging, which I had said earlier. It doesn't mention smudging. So they actually were, and you can see, like, they actually did care and were trying to put respect into their product. Considering they literally could have just gotten the white sage from anywhere, because that is an issue. But no, they actually were going to actual Native Americans and purchasing it. Like, yeah, they could have said it, like, beforehand, like, when the product was coming out, but, like, I'm not really surprised that it wasn't mentioned, because Sephora was selling it, so they probably didn't see it as necessary. I know, another thing about their company, just in general, it's cruelty-free and hypoallergenic. They also focus on, like, inclusivity, and they are the company is owned and run by 8 women that work full-time, so yeah, it's not like the evil monster of Sephora. Although, as my brother has said, Sephora is not bad if you look at the other companies that you could find at the mall, like Urban Outfitters, which my brother won't shop at. He's the one that knows more about the shittiness that happens with clothing lines and businesses and stuff. Like I said, I think this is probably the most fashionable shirt I have, and I got this at a concert, so I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to that. Yeah, and I mentioned that. So yeah, people are really mad about how this box is getting pulled. And it's not getting pulled really because people are worrying about the sage necessarily, but people were really, really going up because most of the stuff that I saw, because when I was reblogging things, I was making sure to kind of read as far as the notes as I could literally really scroll to, and most people were really upset about the whole appropriation of witchcraft, and that people are upset about how that's the bit that really people were upset about. And you see, the thing is, you can't appropriate witchcraft. You can't. Like, it's not a thing. Like, there is no cultural appropriation of witchcraft. Now, there's some witches that do cultural appropriation with other ones, but it's you can't appropriate witchcraft. And the thing is, like, the whole issue with cultural appropriation also is closed beliefs, like closed cultures and their beliefs, and then closed religions as well. Witchcraft in itself is open to everyone. Literally, it is practiced all around the world, and it is actually in multiple cultures. So, yeah, it's not actually, like, you know, like, you're not like, you could maybe say it's a different word, because a lot of people have died because of witchcraft. If you're looking at, like, certain groups of people, like, for instance, I know, like, in Europe and the U.S., but at the same time, like, it's in multiple cultures, and it's open, anyone can do it, it's practiced all around the world, you can't appropriate witchcraft. And I saw some people comparing it to, people would get mad if it was like a Jewish kit or a Christian kit. Yeah, people would get mad about a Jewish kit because, like, that's closed. You know, like, there's a reason why it's cultural appropriation to, like, for people and, like, spiritual people and stuff to be doing stuff with, like, the Kabbalah. There's also, like, 2 different spellings of the Kabbalah. I've seen someone even argue that it doesn't matter if you use the other spelling, it's still appropriation. I'm not an expert on that, but, so don't quote me on it, but, yeah, just, that makes sense. Now, if it was a Christian kit, can I say that is, like, the dumbest thing? Like, people wouldn't be getting mad about that. Like, that happens all the freaking time. Like, I can just go into the store and I'll be like, oh, there's some pretty crosses for sale because it's an aesthetic. Literally, you could just walk into, like, Hot Topic or something and just see these, like, gothic-looking crosses. Are they selling it as a Christian thing? No, it's an aesthetic. They're literally just selling it to people that think it's cool. Like, I'm surrounded by Christians, and I don't see them getting all upset about it, you know? Sure, there's probably some that are upset about it, but, like, not like this. And, I mean, my brother even said, for example, because we have a metaphysical store that we go to whenever we have time and can go up to. And they have a section that's all, like, Christian, angel-y stuff, which is there for the people that are Christian and into the spiritual-y stuff. And I don't really look at it. I kind of just walk around it and look at the other stuff. But my brother's looked at it before, and I know our friend Nick's looked at it because they were thinking about maybe getting one of the things for someone. And, like, my brother's like, literally, some of their stuff is just an aesthetic. Like, it's not like a whole Christian thing, it's, like, literally just an aesthetic. So, like, literally, that's already been happening to Christianity. It's a really, really big religion. So I'm really not surprised. And literally, if you want to be Christian, you could be Christian. There's no issue there. Yeah, that's just, that. Was there any other posts that were really talking about it? I reblogged a few posts about it. But essentially, like, all in all, like, it's not, like, appropriation, and that is where a lot of people were getting, mad about. And because of that, like, it's not happening. And those businesses aren't going to get anything. And in fact, I would think it'd be harder for Penrose to ever really get, like, another like big old marketing kind of thing from Sephora, just because this did all bad. So, like, who knows how their business will be either. And it's just a big old mess. But that's why there are some people that are really mad today. I've seen it, like, all in my dash about people just really mad. Oh, I was holding a crystal. But yeah, people are just really mad that money's now been taken away from Native people, and it is mostly because people were upset that they were appropriating witchcraft. I can't really think of anything else to add. I guess I could say my stance on the matter, since, like I said, I keep saying people are mad at other people. I was just looking to see if there was another one. Oh, there was another thing that I reblogged as well. Because there were some people, for instance, like this person, this guy, had said to Luna that they would have actually really liked it because they actually would have been able to get like a tarot deck and other things like relatively safely into their household, which is really strict Catholic. Like, I'm kind of lucky when it comes to my Catholic relative who got me into Catholicism when I was young, that they actually think this stuff's really cool. They weren't so busy, I'd probably be giving them some more tarot readings. I haven't given them one yet because they're just busy, which is my Nana. She thinks all this stuff's cool. But yeah, I guess I could kind of end it with my stance on the matter. Since I've seen both people arguing back and forth, I would say that yeah, they could have mentioned and probably should have mentioned where the sage was coming from, but like I said, I don't think they thought that it would be an issue if they mentioned it. I would see that more so as the marketing. Then the people that are mad at the people that made it get taken away, that were pretty much just kind of complaining about it appropriating witchcraft, I would be on their side, because literally you can't come, like, the sage actually, the white sage, that makes sense. Like, you could get everyone upset about that. And I think maybe if it was just the white sage, they probably would have made a thing about that and said where the sage came from. I think literally if that was the only thing people were complaining about, that and maybe the tarot deck and its origins, that probably would have been way easier to be addressed. And I know some people were saying, well, they didn't have to take it away after they explained all this. And it's like, no. People weren't going to be satisfied unless it was taken away. Like, if they just didn't make it. And that's obviously why they did that. To try to fix everything as best they could. As respectfully as they could. So yeah, I would say, like, if there was anyone that was worried about the sage and where that was coming from, obviously, like, fine with that, like with everyone else, but just the whole, yeah, I'm pretty much am on the side that I was kind of talking about. Just because, like, their side obviously makes the most sense. It's the most logical, and their side of the scale is definitely got more there, you know. It's got more there, so it's like, you know, so yeah, I thought that I would kind of just make a video about it, since that whole bit about the Sephora Gate, as I saw one person tag it as, is done, but yet there's now the whole people mad at each other issue. And yeah, that it really shows when social media can really be a bad thing. Social media can be really a good thing, but just like literally everything, there is always cons to everything, and that includes things like this. So, thought I'd just kind of make a little video about it. So, this ended up not being little. I wasn't expecting to talk so much, but I was also saying everything that they were saying. But yeah, I know, like, literally towards the end of that, I was, Pinrose. I keep wanting to say Primrose, or, like, Primrose, but it's Pinrose. Duh. But, yeah, I just I know Luna, who I follow, was thinking about buying it and doing a review of it, and I was almost thinking about doing that too, because like I didn't really care for how the deck looked, but I was thinking that if everything, because then we figured out where the deck was coming from, and I was like, okay, and the Taroko, is that the name? Taroko Studios. I thought that their deck looked kind of cool, so like then I was knowing what the other cards looked like, and I was like, oh, then maybe I would be up for something like that. And I thought about maybe getting it for the deck and the perfume maybe, and just maybe also kind of doing a review. I thought that'd be kind of cool. Although I would have waited to see where, for instance, like the sage came from, if they said. If anyone had found out, probably. And I also, they probably would have also sold it on their website. So if you really, really hated Sephora, like Luna, for instance, just has had bad experiences at Sephora and would not have wanted to get it there anyway. So she would have gotten it on their website. That's probably what I would have done. But yeah, if everything had pretty much cleared up, I probably would have gotten it and done a review on it. I was curious to see what the smells were. I know my brother's into essential oils. I've never gotten them. I'm kind of picky when it comes to oil, like to just scents and perfume. But I would have been interested to at least try that. See how it is. Like, literally, I got this because I'm very picky with scents. And, like, I was just looking. This was, like, in between, like, the guys and the... the girl scents. I have no idea what I just did. And I smelled it and I'm like, moss? Oh, this smells good because it kind of smells like cologne, which I actually like the scent of. And that was why I got it, because I'm just picky. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to see what the scent smelled like. Yeah, that's never going to happen now. So yeah, anyway, I just kind of thought that I would do this. I'm open for anyone, like, discussing matters, literally, unless someone's being an asshole. You know, like how I said, like, I would never side with someone that's sexist or racist or transphobic or homophobic and on and on. But I am a person that is definitely open for discussions, as long as the other side listens. Because if a discussion is just one-sided, it's not really a discussion. It's more of an argument to one wall that won't move or see anything or won't even listen, which happens. And with those kind of people, there's no point even trying to talk to them. Yeah, just I'm open to discussions. Just this is just basically kind of like me saying what was all happening and stuff. Yeah, my hair does not want to cooperate. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, anyway, I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I'm logging off, so bye!